Hello, Mr. YouTube man. Are you going to do an updated build on the Dorrclave? I think it's kind of underrated and it'd be cool to see your opinion. Alright, can do. Dorrclave is a sword and whip combo that requires mastery rank 8 and it does pure slash damage. It sports a 26% crit chance with an above average 2.2 times crit multiplier and a 24% status chance. Additionally, when you get 10 kills or 10 assists, you get a special buff that lasts for 10 hits, which gives you perfect follow through and 100% bonus base status chance. Oh yeah, and it has a miniature healing return effect when wielded by Dagath, as it is her signature weapon. Most of the bits and bobs you need for this are available from Dagath's Hollow in your clan's dojo, except for the Vein Thorns. Those come from a special Abyssal Zone Exterminate mission on Ceres, which is only accessible with a beacon that you can get from syndicates. So let's give this puppy another shot and see if it's any good, shall we? The Dorrclave has a really dope trait, Rising Vendetta, after 10 kills, and if I remember correctly, this counts assisted kills as well. You get perfect follow through, which is really strong, and 100% bonus status. I think the build's gonna be very straightforward here. Let's get some basic mods: Condi Overload, Blood Rush, Galvanized Steel, and we're definitely gonna go with Elementalist as well. Let's go Blast Electricity. This is one of the few weapons where I don't feel bad running an Influence setup because of this trait. It actually synergizes with Influence and it makes sense. This weapon is designed to do status damage. I want to run Primed Reach because of that follow through, so let's get a Forma in here. There we go. Get Embiggened. Now, just in case you don't know, follow through is the amount of damage that's sustained as you cleave through multiple enemies. So when the trait is active, you are doing full damage to everything you hit. Let me put on my rank 3 melee influence. I'm doing this on purpose now, by the way. It didn't start off that way. I genuinely didn't have more, but now it's just too funny to me. I would love to get Tenokai on this, so it's gonna be at least one more Forma. Unfortunately, we don't have enough space for attack speed, so I'm gonna be a bit naughty and run Arcane Strike and fix it that way. You could also just run Warcry, I guess. Oh dear god, yeah, that's some damage, alright, what the Clem. I need to do it again, I only built up to like 100 hits. Bloody hell, that's without Tenokai as well. No Harold either, like these dudes aren't even primed. This is gonna be absolutely devastating. Wow, that's just dumb. Yep, this is one of them builds, alright. Just makes the game feel weird. You know what I mean? Like, even in Steel Path, where the enemy density is at its peak, it feels like there are barely any enemies for you to fight. This is an Influence build I can get behind, because it actually makes sense, like the whole thing, like the Elementalist part of it, and then the status with all that shenanigans, like this makes sense. This is not just like, oh, this weapon has over 15% status, so of course I'm gonna run Influence. This actually makes sense. Even the follow-through plays really well into it, actually, because when you have the trait and Influence active, all your status effects are going to be at full power because you're not losing any damage. You have perfect follow-through. There we go, finally got an Acolyte. Damn, that was much better than I expected, actually. Status builds generally don't do too well against Acolytes because, well, they're status resistant, so unless you hit them with like a train and a half, status ain't gonna do much, but yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it's not gonna win any prizes, they're much better weapons for Acolytes, but like for a status build, this is really solid. Okay, Forma time, let's get a D right here. Opportunities reach could be really fun. 8.5 meters of range on a heavy attack. That sounds sufficiently dumb. I forgot, this is a sword and whip. The heavy attack sucks. It's not terrible or anything, it does good damage. I was just kind of hoping for a big swing because of that perfect follow through and all. I am really glad I didn't give up on the heavy attack because I was pretty disappointed at first because I was like, man, I wanted a big swing. But when you actually use it for what it's supposed to be used, you know, reaching enemies that are far away, it's actually kind of a neat addition. I'm really starting to appreciate the heavy attack. Like, as soon as Tenokai triggers, I instinctively look for an enemy that's far away and immediately yoink them in. It's kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. This is a really cool setup. I like it. Alright, let's go wrap it up. So ho ho, here's the final build for the Dorrclave. We have Default Snapdragon as our stance because Default Snapdragon is the only stance. For the Exiles, I chose Opportunities Reach just so I have a longer Tennokai window and a bit more range, but it doesn't add that much to this setup, so you can just leave it blank if you don't want to invest into it. It is a melee influence build, so we're using that as our arcane, and for the mods we have Condition Overload for base damage, Blood Rush and Galvanized Steel for crit, Galvanized Elementalist for status damage and status chance, followed by Primed Reach for a bunch of range, and we top it off with Voltaic Strike for electricity and status, as well as Volcanic Edge and Vicious Frost for blast and status. Now, as you may have noticed, we do not have any attack speed on the weapon itself. This is because we offloaded it to our Warframe via Arcane Strike. You could also use Warcry or something like that as well. However, if you do not want to offload attack speed onto something else, you can simply take out Primed Reach, lose a bit of range, and replace it with Berserker Fury. Also, I sustain my combo exclusively via the Naramon Focus School. I do this with all my melee weapons. I don't run combo mods anymore. But once again, if you really want to run a different focus school, you can take out that Primed Reach, replace it with a combo mod, or you can run a Dexterity Arcane on your primary or secondary weapon. And finally, what kind of a setup would it be without a solid priming pad? I personally use a Hound, Good Boy Harrow, that primes Cold, Vital, Puncture, Impact, Heat, Radiation, and Magnetic. This is really important here because it's a Condition Overload build, so in addition to all the benefits you get from the status effects, you also get a truck ton of extra damage through Condition Overload. I try my best to not Hamfist influence onto every weapon ever made, but this is one of those setups where it just makes sense, it fits, and it synergizes really well. It ended up being more of a full setup than just a weapon build, which is a bit unfortunate, and I try to avoid that, but you can still kind of make it work if you're willing to lose a little bit of range, which I would not recommend because of that high follow-through. But whatever you do with this, one thing is for sure, and that is that I would absolutely recommend you give this a shot, or well, a swing, I guess. It's a really fun setup that does great damage. The single target is a bit lacking, but it's not as bad as it is with a lot of other influence setups because the weapon has a ton of slash, which helps a lot. It's actually one of the reasons why I think influence fits really well here. The base slash damage adds a much needed single target. So definitely pick this up, especially if you're a big fan of Dagath, because as I mentioned already, Dagath also gets a mini healing return effect, so you can actually heal with this as well. The heal's pretty solid too, it's 6 for every active status effect that's on the enemy. And that is pretty much all I have for you today, so I thank you very much for watching, as always guys, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Now if there's anything else you would like to see covered in this series, feel free to leave it as a suggestion in the comment section down below, and please don't worry about it being silly, because usually the sillier, the better. And finally, I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, it means a lot to me. And I'll see you some other time. Bye bye.